Hello everyone, my name is Guilherme Tizani. I'm the director of the Valve Stroke Heart Center at the University Hospitals of Cleveland. I'm going to present today my new technique for 2020. These are my disclosures. So as a background, we know that the indications of TAVR with self-expandable valves have expanded to low surgical risk patients. These folks were younger and therefore will live longer. There is a huge issue, which is the high rates of permanent pacemaker implantation that still remain a concern. Different efforts have been dedicated to reduce permanent pacemaker rates. However, these techniques might not be very easily reproducible and are associated with learning curves. In addition to that, TAVR has been performed more often now in smaller centers with low volume. So we need techniques that are simple and highly reproducible to enable overall reproducible, pristine results. So the proposed solution that we have for that is the LAO shallow technique. Starting here, the implantation, so we cross the valve when we have with the projection of the three cusps aligned. Importantly, we didn't take any picture so far in this case. We don't have to take that initial picture just because we don't need a precise alignment of the leaflets, because we're going to go LAO to take the parallax out. As you can see here, most of the parallax is taken off in LAO, and we do not, almost never go caudal. If any caudal, very little caudal. So we implant, the whole implantation happens in LAO, and then we take this picture, of course, after we take the parallax out, if the valve comes with parallax. And then if you're happy with this picture, then we're going to deploy the valve. So we don't take any other pictures. We don't come RAO. It's only one single picture taken the whole time. And of course, because we implant very shallow, we need to do a very slow final deployment of the valve. As you can see, I removed my wire from the left ventricle to start to help to remove the tension from the system, with a slight forward tension in the catheter, and very slow final deployment of the valve. As you can see here, the valve expands on top as well as in the bottom, which locks the valve in place and prevents aortic migration. This is a progressive implant, as you can see, progressive release of the valve. And as you're going to observe here, progressively we deployed one, and then we're going to deploy the second hook. So the valve didn't move. It's important that you observe that the valve didn't move. So the LAO shallow technique, between January 2018 and March 2020, 516 patients underwent TAVR with self-expandable valves in our institution. The overall permanent pacemaker rate was 10.5%. 397 patients underwent TAVR with self-expandable valves from January 2019 to November 2019. When we routinely deploy the valves at the depth of 3 to 5 millimeters, remember that this is actually the actual recommendation of deployment. During the period, the permanent pacemaker implantation rate was 12.1%. From December 2019 to March 2020, 116 patients underwent TAVR with the aim of the deployment much shallower, between 0 and 1 millimeter depth. We actually deploy a lot of our valves even shallower than 0. Frequently we deploy in negative. As we know, when we go LAO, we foreshorten the LVOT. That's why we have confidence to deploy even when the valve is in a negative position. We accomplished this deployment the way we wanted in greater than 90% of the patients, and there was a remarkable reduction in permanent pacemaker rates that came down to 5% only. I have another case example here. So 88-year-old female patient with severe aortic stenosis that underwent PCI of two of her vessels. She has a bifascicular block, which increases significantly the likelihood that she might need a permanent pacemaker post-procedure. As you can see, the echo here compatible with short axis of the valve. Then the 5 and 3 chamber views. Gradients compatible with severe AS. Here, I'm pre-dilating the valve. To do the LAO shallow technique, I strongly recommend that you pre-dilate your valves that have moderate or more calcium based on a visual estimation. Basically, the reason for the pre-dilatation is because we definitely reduce the likelihood you're going to have to post-dilate when we do pre-dilatation. So we do pre-dilate very liberally, very conservative balloons, 18, 20, or 22, based on the minimum diameter of the LVOT, obviously, only through dilatation balloons. Even patients with very poor LV function, they tolerate very well this because it's a very short, rapid pacing. And we reduce the likelihood to post-dilate significantly. In fact, the rates of pre-dilatation in the US are around 30%, as well as the post-dilatation between 30 and 35%. We pre-dilate twice as much, around 60-65%, but very rarely around 3 to 4% of post-dilatation, so that's a rare phenomenon. We would like to try to avoid post-dilatation if we can. Obviously, we implant our valves very shallow. I said avoid. I didn't say that we never post-dilate. If we need to post-dilate, definitely we will post-dilate, of course, in paying careful attention to the fact that the valve is already in a shallow position. So pre-dilatation, liberal pre-dilatation, there's no strong data that suggests that pre-dilatation increases chance of stroke or chance of rhythm disturbances. In fact, our rates of stroke have been consistently less than 1% here in Cleveland without utilization of cerebral protection devices. Anyway, so pre-dilatation here, which enables a very slow deployment of the valve, which is crucial for its implantation. And this is where we are in LAO again. So we crossed the valve when we were with the three cusps aligned, the initial projection, again, without taking any prior picture. So we're just deploying the valve in LAO without parallax, as you can see there. I'm just taking a small test, make sure the pigtail has not moved. This is 80%. Again, we did not change the position of the C-arm. It was consistent from the beginning of the deployment, always in LAO. And we take this picture. As you can observe there, the valve in the non-coronary cusp is actually negative. It's around like -1, -2. I'm happy with that position, very happy indeed, because I went LAO. Therefore, I foreshortened the LVOT, and I pushed the right cusp up. And as you can see, I'm also catching the left. So I'm completely comfortable. I don't have to take any other picture here. It's only one solo picture. I don't have to come RAO. I don't have to confirm anything. I'm sure and confident that this is going to work. We have been consistently doing this, and it's a very reproducible and efficient technique. This is the final deployment of the valve. As you can see, it's a very slow deployment because the valve is shallow. I already pulled the wire back inside the nose cone. I'm gonna forward the video here. So a very, very, very slow implantation here to make sure the valve is not going to migrate aortic. Very, very slow, coming slowly. And finally, we're gonna put the delivery system out. We don't keep wire in the ventricle. And because we don't need to, in case we need to post-dilate, we're going to just recross. And this is our final echo, showing really great result, no paravalvular leak, and single digit cadence, and importantly, no conduction disturbances. So the temporary pacemaker is just left in place in cases like this per our protocol because she had a pre-existing bifascicular block. She was discharged on day 1, and she was seen in clinic 1 month post with NYJ functional class 1. So this is basically our LAO shallow technique that we have been consistently doing. We don't need any additional CTA assessments or multiple projections, and it's very efficient to reduce pacemaker rates. Thank you very much.